Before I start, comment which country you're watching from, share this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to like it. I really want to know where my story is reaching you from. I never thought I would be telling this story like this. Sitting alone at 34, trying to hold myself together while everything I once called family feels like a nightmare I survived. My name is Elena, and until 2 years ago, I believed my brother was the only person in the world who would never turn his back on me. That belief died the day my parents did. It was a rainy night when the hospital called. I still remember how my hands shook so badly. I dropped my phone twice before I could even understand the words. We did everything we could. That sentence still echoes in my head like it was spoken yesterday. My mother and father were gone within hours of each other. A sudden accident. No goodbye. No warning. Just emptiness. My 6-year-old daughter, Lily, kept asking when Grandma would wake up and make her pancakes again. I didn't know how to answer her without breaking completely. I told her they were sleeping. I lied because the truth felt too heavy for a child. At the funeral, my brother Daniel didn't cry. Not once. He stood there stiff, distant, like he was already calculating something in his head. I noticed it, but ignored it. Grief makes people strange, I told myself. That's what I believed. Until I realized he wasn't grieving at all. He was waiting. A week after the funeral, he asked me to come to the house. The same house my parents built with their own hands. The house I grew up in. The house I thought we would somehow keep together as a family. Lily held my hand the entire way there, humming softly, unaware that everything in our lives was about to collapse again. When we arrived, Daniel didn't even let us fully step inside. He was standing in the hallway like a stranger, and the first words he said to me changed everything. He said, "You need to leave. This house is mine now." I laughed at first, thinking it was some twisted joke born from stress and grief, but his eyes didn't move, not even a flicker. That's when I realized this wasn't grief. This was betrayal I never saw coming. And I had no idea what he was about to do next. I didn't understand him at first. I kept standing there in the hallway, still holding Lily's hand, waiting for him to laugh and say it was some sick joke. But the silence in his face made my stomach drop. "Daniel, what are you talking about?" "This is our parents' house," I said slowly, trying to keep my voice steady. He didn't even look at me. Instead, he pulled out a folder and threw it onto the table like, "Shh." Had been waiting for that exact moment for days. I handled everything after the funeral. The house is in my name now, legally. You have no claim here. My ears started ringing. For a second, I couldn't even breathe properly. That's impossible. Mom and Dad would never. They did, he cut me off coldly. They trusted me. Lily squeezed my hand tighter. "Mommy, why is Uncle mad?" That question shattered me more than anything else. I knelt down and touched her face, forcing a smile I didn't feel. "It's okay, sweetheart. Just stay close to me." But Daniel wasn't done. He finally looked at me, and what I saw in his eyes wasn't grief or sadness, it was resentment. Years of it hidden behind silence. "You always depended on them," he said. "You and your kid just kept taking. I'm done carrying everyone." I felt like someone slapped me across the face. Taking? "Daniel, I stayed home to take care of Mom when she was sick. I was here every single day." He scoffed. "And yet you still expected a share of everything." My heart was pounding so hard I thought Lily could hear it. I tried to reason with him, but he already made his decision. He walked to the door, opened it wider, and said the words I will never forget. "Pack whatever you can carry. You have 1 hour. After that, I don't care where you go." I stared at him in disbelief. "You're kicking us out." "Right after Mom and Dad died?" He didn't answer. That silence was worse than any insult. I looked around that house one last time, trying to remember my parents' voices in the walls, the smell of my mother's cooking, my father's old chair by the window. Everything felt like it was being erased in real time. And as I stood there, holding my daughter's trembling hand, I realized something terrifying. My brother wasn't just taking a house. He was taking everything I had left in the world. And I had no idea how far he was willing to go. I didn't sleep that night. We ended up in a cheap motel on the edge of the city, the kind of place where the lights flicker and the walls feel like they've heard too many broken lives. Lily fell asleep holding my shirt like she was afraid I might disappear too. And I just sat there, staring at the ceiling, replaying Daniel's words over and over again. You have 1 hour. I kept asking myself how someone I grew up with, someone who used to carry me on his shoulders as a kid, could turn into a stranger that cruel. But the worst part wasn't even the betrayal. It was realizing he had planned it. The next morning, I went back to the house. I didn't tell him. I just needed answers. When I reached there, the gate was already locked. New lock, new chain. Like we never existed there at all. I pressed the doorbell anyway, even though I already knew what would happen. Daniel opened the door slowly, like he wasn't surprised to see me. You came back, he said flatly. I just want my parents' thanks, I said. My voice cracked more than I wanted it to. Photos, anything of them. You can't keep the house. Just don't erase them completely. For a second, something shifted in his expression. Just a flicker, but then it was gone. You had your chance to take what you needed, he said. This isn't a charity. I felt something inside me snap. You really think Mom and Dad would forgive you for this? I asked. He leaned closer, lowering his voice. Mom and Dad are gone, and so is your protection. That's when I noticed something behind him on the table. A stack of papers. Legal documents, bank statements, property transfers. My name wasn't just removed from the house. It looked like my entire family inheritance had been redirected. My breath stopped. You didn't just take the house, I whispered. You took everything. Daniel didn't deny it. Instead, he smiled and said the words that made my blood run cold. You should have left quietly. Now you're going to learn what happens when you fight me. He stepped back and started closing the door. But before it shut completely, I heard my daughter's voice from behind me. Mommy, why are the police here? I turned around and saw 2 officers walking straight toward me. The moment I saw the police walking toward me, my entire body went cold. Daniel didn't even look surprised. He just stepped aside slightly like he was ready for this moment too long. One of the officers looked at me and then at my daughter standing behind me, clutching my hand so tightly it hurt. Are you Elena Carter? The officer asked. I nodded slowly. Yes. What is this about? Before I could say anything else, Daniel spoke up immediately. She broke into my property. I told her to leave yesterday and she came back again. I think she's unstable after our parents' death. My heart dropped. That's not true. People started gathering nearby. Neighbors. Whispering. Watching, I felt like I was being painted into a corner I didn't even know existed. Then the officer raised his hand. We're not here for that. Silence. Daniel froze. The officer pulled out a folder. We're here for Daniel Carter. There are multiple reports of property fraud, inheritance manipulation, and forged the signatures connected to the estate of Robert and Helen Carter. For a second, I thought I misheard him. Daniel's face changed instantly. What? No, that's impossible. But the officer wasn't done. We also have video confirmation from the estate lawyer's office. Your parents updated their will weeks before the accident. Everything was left in a trust shared equally between both siblings. My breath stopped. However, the officer continued. Someone accessed and illegally altered documents after their death. The folder turned toward Daniel, and that's when I saw it. His signature. My name removed. Everything forged. My knees almost gave out. No, Daniel whispered, backing away. They said I was in charge. They trusted me. And then something even worse happened. Another officer stepped forward with a small recorder. We also found a recorded message from your mother's lawyer, intended to be played in case of disputes. The press of a button filled the air, and then my mother's voice came out. Weak, but clear. If you are hearing this, then Daniel has chosen greed over family. Everything is protected legally for Alina and her daughter. I raised both of you, but I will not allow injustice after I'm gone. I started crying before I even realized it. Daniel shook his head violently. Turn it off, but it was too late. The officers moved toward him. "Daniel Carter, you are under arrest." That's when it happened. He looked at me, really looked at me, like he finally understood everything he destroyed. And then his legs gave out. He collapsed right there on the driveway. Fainted, just like the title said. As they took him away, I didn't feel revenge the way I expected. I felt something calmer, lighter. Lily hugged me tightly and whispered, "Mommy, we're safe now?" I kissed her forehead, tears still falling. "Yes, baby," I said softly. "We are." For the first time since my parents died, I finally felt like justice had spoken louder than betrayal.